Have you ever had black beard algae in your aquarium like I have in my goldfish tank? Stick around and I'll tell you how I got rid of it. So, if you're still here, I guess you want to know about this menace that you found in your tank. So black beard algae, also known as black brush algae, is actually a member of the red algae family. And the tricky thing about this algae is it can sometimes confuse people because it actually can vary in colour. So sometimes it's dark green, purple, dark black, and it's a pretty tough algae actually. So it virtually grows on everything. I've seen it grow on my driftwood, my pipes, my filters, my substrate. I even saw a little bit just buzzing around my tank, and then I realised it was actually a snail which had some black brush algae growing on its shell. Just a purple looking cousin it zipping around my tank. So black brush algae, is it harmful? Well, to be honest, there is no evidence to suggest that it is harmful to your fish. Lots of aquarists sometimes keep it in their tanks, and the fish swim in and out of it. They use it as to make a territory and things like that. But the downside of blackbeard algae is when it gets onto your plants, like it has done on my Anubias here, what it does is it spreads over the leaf and blocks out the light, so the plant can no longer get that light which it needs to survive and photosynthesize. So if you have a planted tank and you've got blackbeard algae, more often than not, you just want to get rid of it. By now you're probably thinking, oh no, what have I done wrong to my tank? Why have I got this blackbeard algae growing over all of my stuff? The reassuring part about this is blackbeard algae, most often than not, is brought into your aquarium by being carried by some bogwood or some plants you've brought in there. So if you look into my tank, I put some Anubias plants into this aquarium, and within a few weeks blackbeard algae was all over the place. That's not to say that, as with any algae, blackbeard algae loves light. So if you have a lot of light, that will also increase its rate of growth, and that's unfortunately what happens to me, and I'll explain how I sorted that out in my video in a moment. And if you have a CO2 imbalance, that can also cause it to go out of control. So in the case of my tank, I don't use CO2, as Anubias are quite easy plants to grow, slow growing, and they don't really need it. And that's unfortunately probably why it's being covered by the blackbeard algae. So how do you get rid of blackbeard algae? There's a few different ways you can do it. So you can manually cut it out. You can go in, start picking it all off. It is quite tough, so sometimes you will struggle to get it all off. You could use liquid carbon, and so essentially what you'll do there is make the carbon levels correct for your aquarium. And I would only really suggest this if you had a planted tank, because it helps your plants outcompete the algae. And some aquarists would suggest that you get algae eaters, such as the true Siamese algae eater, Amano shrimp, bristlenose plecos, and goldfish. And as you can see, I've got goldfish in this tank here, and they certainly haven't eaten it. They peck at it now and then, but they certainly are not chowing down to the point that it's being eliminated. So I needed to intervene, and it's basically a 4-week process. So the first thing you're going to need to do is get your hands on some Easy Life Algae Exit. You can probably get this from your local fish store, if not on Amazon, for about £10. And then give your tank a quick weekly 20% water change, and give the glass a quick scrub just to make sure you get off any algae on the glass, which isn't necessarily blackbeard algae, but just give it a clean anyway. If you have any plants in your tank, like I did here, which was covered in blackbeard algae, what you're going to want to do is cut off the leaves that are most affected. That way you'll just stem the amount of spores that are potentially going to be released into your water over the next few weeks while you're trying to remove the algae. When you do your water change, just make sure you go into your filter and remove any active carbon that you may have in there, as that will prevent algae exit from working. And what you're going to also want to do is purchase yourself a timer if you can. These are pretty cheap. You can get them from most hardware stores. And this is just so you can have better control over your lights and how much light is actually going to your aquarium. So I would suggest that if you have a planted tank, you're probably going to want about 8 hours a day. For a non-planted tank, around 6 hours a day. And then once you've done your water change, all you need to do is add 10 milliliters per every 100 liters of algae exit into your aquarium, and that's pretty much it. And you just need to then repeat this once per week. Give your tank a water change and redose with algae exit, and then it should all go. In some situations you may need to do it for longer, but 4 weeks is all it should take. So what I do is I'll just leave you now with just a quick timeline of how things went following this process in my aquarium. Hopefully this video has helped you with your black beard algae problem. And if you want, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in my next video.